You are now listening to ForAllNerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. ForAllNerds is hosted by DJ Ben Amin and Tatiana Keene-Jones. ForAllNerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
ForAllNerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/ForAllNerds.
I am Thor, son of Odin, and as long as there is life in my breast, I am running out of things to say.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I can do this all day.
Wakanda forever!
And welcome, internets, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by ForAllNerds, where we talk about everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. And it is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, aka Tatiana Kang the Conqueror, aka T'Challa Bread, aka the Wrath of Khonshu, aka coldest Winter Soldier ever, Dr. Doing Something Strange for some change, and LaWandaVision. And as always, I'm joined by my illustrious co-host.
And yes, it's your boy, DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. I believe my impeccable character and rep speaks for itself, a.k.a. Captain Cold Brew, a.k.a. the anti-trife equation, a.k.a. the high revolutionary, a.k.a. get it on the floor, get it on the floor, a.k.a. I am Groot, a.k.a. Peter Trill, a.k.a. the legendary Star Lord of Mercy. Of course I'm Jamaican. Don't you hear my accent?
You sound Irish. You sound Irish. Irish Jamaican.
Yeah, shout out to half-baked Dave Chappelle. At one point, he's trying to save his own life, and he's like, of course I'm Jamaican. Don't you hear my accent? Lord of mercy.
The ghetto.
Classic.
Listen, Ben Amin, AKAs, is just out of control today.
Yeah, my impeccable rapping character speaks for itself.
Please, sir, you didn't have to repeat it.
That's all I gotta say, you know what I mean? That's what I've been told, you know?
You didn't have
At least
to
I
repeat
tell
it.
myself that sometimes.
Ben Amin, we are gathered here today with our beloved friends and family because we are back in business when it comes to all things Disney Plus, at least Ben Amin is. And we were given the opportunity to see Secret Invasion.
The first two episodes.
The first two episodes. Starring Samuel L. Jackson. Coming back, reconditioning, recharging, reprising his role reinvigorated as Nick Fury. Ben Amin, as I try to allude to, Ben Amin actually got to see the first two episodes. Me, myself, I was on Earth 412 and didn't get the chance to actually partake in the goods. But that being said, that's not going to stop us because we are the dynamic duo and we're still going to learn a lot about the first two episodes. The first episode is really what we're going to talk about today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just episode 1. So let me just put that out there. And this is going to be filled with spoilers. So we expect that you have watched episode 1 before you listen to us. Just wanted to put that out there, right?
Yes, as it is out now on Disney Plus. And shout out to y'all for sending that through. Overall, like I said, without any spoilers, I have seen the first two episodes. I enjoyed them. It's really funny. I said this myself I think about a week or so ago on Twitter that I said that Across the Spider-Verse has really redefined things for me this year. And it's just early in this year. And it's, once again, it's giving me that RRR feeling where it's like, I compared it to Kendrick's verse on Control, where it felt like a challenge to the rest of the hip-hop industry, just to step it up.
Challenge.
And I don't feel like Across the Spider-Verse is like we're better than everything else. I was actually watching Intergalactic on Netflix right now, the Kid Cudi joint, the animated joint. It's fire. And I was like, this is dope too. You know, so it's just that step it up. And after seeing that as far as superhero films, and content, even though I hate that word, television, film, whatever the case may be, I feel like the films and television got to step it up. And I thought Secret Invasion's first 2 episodes were solid, but nothing, not even like on Miss Marvel, when Miss Marvel first episode, where I was like, wow, this shit's doing some different things I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely that Noirish. There were some dope ass shots. I'll give it that. It looks really good. But, nothing where I'm like, oh my God, they're at least trying something different. It's more like, okay, this is, Noirish, and not fully going in on that, because it's still Marvel. It's like the Winter Soldier version of Noir, which is.
I was going to say, did this feel, and I guess less Winter, well, what was the TV show? Was it Winter Soldier? The TV, the Disney Plus?
The TV, Falcon and
Winter Soldier. Did it feel like that more?
That felt even more than this. This feels, I don't like using the word grounded, but it feels more grounded than this so far. But I will say that in the trailers and judging on things that happen in these first 2 episodes, even though the stars have claimed there's not that many superpowers, there's going to be some superpowers in this ish. There's going to be
okay.
Because and beyond just the scroll shape change, and I can say, because judging on what things happen in this, and I've already seen in the trailer, and I'm like, oh, I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, okay, that's that happening, and a little later on in the story, so we're going to see some superpowers. But, we saw some superpowers, and, well, not really in Captain, it was more just, him flying
Falcon
around.
and Winter Soldier?
Yeah, he just had a jetpack, right? Yeah.
I mean, what's his face had Super Soldier Serum in him. He throwing the fucking
True indeed.
Frisbee around, so.
Them, what do you call it, now, those superpowers when they got blown up in that truck?
Yo. The way you keep bringing this collateral damage up, bro.
That wasn't collateral. That was revenge. That was like,
collateral
the niggas fucked around
damage.
and found out, boy. That was the Flash Masters most definitely fucked around and found out. That was not collateral damage. Like, they'd done some dirt and somebody else was like, now, here's some dirt to y'all.
Not my problem, but
not mine at all. But they fucked around and found out,
So Ben, I mean, give me the setup for what this series is about, like generally, and where it takes place and all that.
Got you. Well, this takes place after. Well, okay, the majority of it, takes place after everything else. I would say up. This is current time in the Marvel universe, right? We are at the current, a few years after the blip, basically, time in the Marvel universe. After what was the last big film? I guess No Way Home and Guardians. You never know when the fucking Guardians movies are taking place because they're in space. But yeah, this is current time Marvel universe, basically. And Nick Fury,
2026-ish.
Oh yeah, because they're a few years ahead of us. So Nick Fury has returned to Earth after being on a Sabre space station for years at this time, after the blip and after everything that went down. And he's returned because the threat of the Skrulls is becoming too much. Basically, the first episode kicks off with someone who we think is Agent Ross, gathering some information about what the Skrulls are doing on there from another agent and being like, all right, let me go report this back to Fury. And then our boy Talos steps in from the Captain Marvel series, murders Hobbit Agent Ross, and Agent Ross turns into a Skrull, and Talos is like, or the other agent's like, damn, sorry about that. He's one of you. And he's like, no, he's one of them. And then the credits come up. And quick note about the credits. I was actually informed today, and this will probably come out by now if it hasn't already, that allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know if this is true yet, but they were created using AI.
Who?
The credit sequence. No, the credit
sequence.
sequence. Yes, was created using AI. And having seen it, I would believe it. I wasn't particularly impressed with the credit sequence. Some people might be. It was more that, like, I feel most credit sequences are so, like, Daredevil derivative in this day and age and kind of boring. This is more of an abstract painting that changes and stuff. So it's kind of interesting in that way because it's like you have like an abstract of Nick Fury and then it turns into an abstract of a Skrull. A lot of credits are going over it, and it's like this painting.
You're trying to express how abstract being a Skrull is.
But hearing that it's AI created in this day of age of the WGA strike and the Actors Guild strike and perhaps impending Directors Guild strike, if God wills it, then it's kind of wild. Yeah, it's trying to wild y'all.
Let's talk about it. But that being said, wasn't all this completed before all this stuff happened?
True. But this shows why that strike needed to happen, because fucking around and letting AI create this, it's taking jobs out of people's hands, and you're getting, basic shit. And that's the other problem, because
But were they trying to be tongue in cheek? And I'm sorry for being devil's advocate here, but were they trying to be tongue in cheek? The fact that with AI, it's something you think it's human, replicating what a human would act or behave or do, and that's kind of what a scroll is doing.
Look at you spinning this one.
I have a marketing degree from Howard University. What can I say?
Ain't you?
Yeah. That being said, Ben,
Yep. So after the credit sequence, that is basically the premise of the show. Now Nick Fury has to combat, team up with Talos, and stop the Skrull menace, which is being led by this dude named Gravik, who is a Skrull and is played by the guy who I thought was the Paladin from Dungeons and Dragons, but no, these are two different actors. He's also whooping ass and taking names in this show, right? Dude playing Gravik, let me tell you, is my runaway star of the show right away. I have a question. Most people, as long-term listeners of the show know, I used to take the side of the villain. Right now, his plan is absolutely insane. I don't think it's revealed all the way to the second episode, so I won't give that away yet. But I have no affiliation with this nigga.
Oh my god! Wait, I have questions. I want you to pause right there, because I got
a lot of questions about Gravik.
Because you talked about you in the last minute and a half, you've named a few L's that have already occurred, and you said, but even before the opening credits start rolling, you get an L. So how violent is this so far? Are you seeing blood right now? Then, because Disney's notorious for not showing nothing, but are you seeing blood? Are you seeing like how?
I think you're seeing blood, because there's a few people who are capped and laying on the ground, and I think you see like the pools of blood forming.
Damn,
that type of thing. Yeah,
that's big for Disney.
Yeah, Marvel. I mean, and when does that shit happen? That's not until the second episode, so I won't spoil that. But
right. But it's brutal.
But it's violent. But there is a lot of deaths. And I mean they're randos. But it's still like, wow.
And is it brutal violence?
Like L,
wow, you didn't have to go out like that.
Damn, I won't say which character, but damn, dog, you took a big L there, and I did not expect that big L to happen to you, dude. Like, L, failure for you, so.
Well, you call him the Hobbit Agent Ross, but I mean, this is not the first time he's died, so it's kind of like, eh.
Well, he survives. That's not him. It was a Skrull impersonating him.
But even being the shock, it's kind of like, well, this also isn't the first time that he died, technically, so.
Oh, yeah, he did die in Wakanda, right? Yeah.
He died. Didn't he die before, like during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or some shit like that? Well, and then they raised him back up in one of the movies, and they said it was actually he said it was a life-size decoy that actually died. My point is, the whatever representation of Ross you were getting has died multiple times already, whether it was truly him or not. So
I barely cared about Ross, throughout any of his incarnations. So it mattered not to me when he got capped at the beginning. I was like, oh, well. And then when he turned into Skrull, I was actually kind of disappointed. I was like, damn, that would have been more interesting, Ross dying. But, that being said, it's not Ross who dies. We'll get to that in a little bit. It does happen in the first episode. And like we said, you've already seen it, so it's not a spoiler. But Gravik is a Skrull, and oh, God, once again, I'm not sure when do you actually get... Oh, no, see, yeah, all of his origin isn't exactly told to the second episode, but basically Gravik is a Skrull who is now leading a contingent of Skrulls, and they have a plan that goes against what Talos has, and they all have like history. Gravik used to be down with Talos and Fury, and is now split apart from him, because remember, folks, from the original Captain Marvel, at the end of the Captain Marvel movie in the 90s, Fury and Captain Marvel promised the Skrulls that were left on Earth that they would find them a new home planet, because their home planet of Skrullos had been destroyed in the Galactic War.
Why you say it like that? Say it again.
Skrullos. I like saying it, because Skrullos had been destroyed in the Galactic War between them and the Kree, which is interesting because in the comic book, Skrullos is actually destroyed when your boy Galactus comes through and puts that, it's lunchtime on Skrullos.
Yeah, eats it like Scooby snacks.
Yeah, and in the second episode, there's more revealed about it, but it's not really more revealed because we already knew it was that's what happened, you know, the Kree. But I was like, you know, they're about Galactus, you know, me. I was like,
So
shit. No, but it wasn't, you know, slight spoiler for the second episode, you know, no.
Is Gravik like the Magneto of the bunch, and then Talos is the Professor X?
Yes. Yes. This is definitely the Malcolm X and Martin Luther King comparison.
Don't say that.
I mean, this one is pretty much on the nose.
Are you serious?
Gravik is hardcore by any means necessary. End of story.
Gotcha.
He's early Malcolm, you know, he's definitely early young Malcolm. While Talos is definitely, let's keep the peace. And the other side of it, which is revealed in the first episode as well, is that Talos has a daughter. Remember, we actually met his daughter. She was a younger Skrull in the Captain Marvel movie. And Skrulls age very, you know, they live much longer than humans. Like Talos himself is like 120 or some shit like that. So his daughter is now being played by Daenerys. I cannot remember her name after all these years.
It's okay. So one thing I never understood about the Skrulls, right? Because they could live so long, again, unless they're surrounded by other Skrulls where no one's going to question them, because they live so long, they can't necessarily play, quote unquote, that person for that same amount of time. So do they decide to switch out at a certain time? Like once that person gets to be 90, do they play like that person died and then switch out? Like,
but they've never
Marvel
had
versus Capcom? Like, do they switch out?
Yeah. Yes, but I would say yes, but they've also haven't had to encounter that problem. Remember, they were on Skrullos for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, when they here.
Yeah, but they ain't been here but 30, 40 years now. So they
okay, so that's not, so that time, the human being timeline is not even being met yet.
Yeah, that hasn't been encountered yet. So they'll be fine.
And Emilia Clarke is Daenerys.
Emilia Clarke, thank you. Yes, it's Daenerys. And Emilia Clarke plays his daughter, Gaia, I want to say her name is Gaia.
I'm going to say Gaia because that's
it's Gaia. Yeah, Gaia. So. Giah. And so she's his daughter, but she is down with Gravik. So conflict and drama, folks, right away. Right away. That's how you do it, folks. Oh, put some familiar drama in it.
Do you think that conflict and drama makes sense for the series, or you think it's just kind of a cheap way to
I mean, come on, man. It's
his
daughter. Like okay. I don't like to call things cheap, but you know, it's like
easy.
Look, when you're dealing, this I would explain as a writer, right? This is something that I've learned as a writer. When you're dealing with complex, something like Skrulls, you know, being able to change shape, and the fact that they've been here for 30 years, and you got to deal with 30 years of history and what they've been doing, and all these other things you're dealing with in this series. Sometimes you keep things simple, stupid for other things, so people watching are not lost. You know,
because it could be very confusing with the Skrulls.
And there's an easy in. Daughter, you know, my daughter, you know, is on the other side. Who can't relate to that? Got to give your readers an easy in sometimes.
It makes sense.
Not cheap. It's beautiful.
Okay.
And I wouldn't call it cheap because, like, it's explored well. And there's actually something else that's really explored well, I felt, even though at times it's a little heavy-handed, but it's also Disney Plus, and I mean, you expect a bit of heavy-handedness on this, is the idea of refugees and the idea of race. Like, that really gets into it. Like, the idea of race and what side that means is really being explored through the characters of Rhodes and the characters of Fury. Because on this series, like, I was shout out to Ron from POC. I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yo, I do not fuck with Rhodes on this joint." And I was like, "Well, Rhodes has always been a bit of a stooge, you know,
always.
He's
kind of being a COO.
Yeah, and I always call out the line that people, you know, get on me when I call it out. Bring me back my roadie. But you know, Tony says, "Bring me back my roadie," and Rhodes wasn't like, "What?" Like,
I'm not your pet.
What did this nigga just you know, because he would have got shot right after that. So, but you know, that would have been funnier if that's what caused him to get shot by the Vision. If he'd been like, "Nigga,
I mean, what is your problem?
Like, he gets distracted by that nigga saying, "Bring me back my roadie." Then this nigga just
As Ben is explaining some of the stuff to me, I'm looking through his notes as well.
Yes.
What's gravity legs?
All right, folks. As y'all don't know, I write my notes as I'm watching these episodes, so they are very much.
And it's chronological. So I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, and it's chronological and it's shorthand, and it doesn't make sense even to me when I read them afterwards sometimes. Because I had to question myself and be like, what was I thinking when I said that? And then I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Gravity legs is because when Fury first comes down from his spaceship when he's reintroduced, my man is wobbly, 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 wobbly. Like he is struggling. He is straight up trying to walk. And so I'm like, is he old? Because that is definitely harped on in this episode as well. That's another big thing.
Or is it because he has been in the space station for so long?
That's why I went with gravity legs.
Doesn't the space station have artificial gravity the same times as Earth?
I mean, but you know, that's
how bad could it be? How bad could the
so this nigga old
transition
is what
be?
you're trying to say. He washed. And
how bad could the transition be?
And that is also a big theme of the first episode is being washed. Because everyone continuously tells Nick Fury that he is washed.
Are you dead ass? That's hilarious.
Everywhere he goes, in one way or shape or form, Talos talks about how washed he is, and Talos is like, I'm younger than you, you know, I'm 120 for Skrull years. I'm still, Talos talks about he's washed. I swear Rhodes tells him he's washed. Everyone tells him he's washed.
Why is that a running thing?
And he exhibits being washed at points. Like he's struggling, breathing hard after action. It's tough. I don't know. I mean, the reality of it is Nick Fury is old as fuck. You know what I mean? Like he's old as dirt. Like,
I mean, yeah.
You got to remember, like he was, middle aged in the like 19. Like what in
the blockbuster era.
In Captain Marvel in the blockbuster.
I thought they first of all they used CG to youngen him
a little bit, but he's supposed to be like young. What 30?
I thought, oh damn, was he supposed to be 30?
A young agent, 25, you think? He said he'd been working to death for
anything I'm saying is going to sound disrespectful, so I'ma not try to figure out what it was, but I thought he was supposed to be younger.
Fuck it, let's say young. He said he'd been working to death for a few years at that point.
Nah, he's
when
old.
Captain Marvel comes in. So let's say you graduate the academy 22, few years, 25. Let's say
he old
25.
as fuck now, bro. That was 35 years ago. He old as fuck now.
35 years of avenging action, Nick Fury
gravity legs.
And gravity legs and everything else that comes along with it. That shit gonna wear and tear on your ass.
So
yeah, definitely right. If he was 25, that was 35 years ago. So it's like he's still what? 50? No, 60.
So the way this show has been,
25.
The way the show has been set up to me from TM has been that
60 ain't that old though. He should still be whooping ass. I know niggas who can whoop ass.
You said 68?
No shit. I know niggas who are whooping ass to 70, boy.
Well, look at people like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's still scary as fuck, and he's old.
But yeah, there's a boxer that once again there's a boxer down the block from me. I don't know how old this man is, and I ain't testing that nigga. And he like 5'4".
So what you've explained to me thus far is that Skrulls represent L's. Because every time you say one appears on screen, almost every time one appears on screen, with the exception of maybe Talos, something happens to somebody. Somebody's hitting an L. You've expressed...
Yeah, but not always Skrulls. Other people take mad L's because of Skrulls.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They give out...
Skrull is present, and something's going to happen if it's not Talos, right? And then...
Oh, even when Talos is around, people taking
God damn, shit! So I'm looking at them like they're the black cats of the MCU. Because if I see a Skrull, I'm like, holy shit, something might go down.
Well, this is what this series is painting them as, right? Because there's a lot more Skrulls on Earth than Nick Fury thinks. And because they've been here so long, they've infiltrated a lot of places of society, even with the ones who are here.
Even the upper levels? How much infiltration are we talking about?
We are talking NATO, heads of NATO are Skrulls.
That's upper levels. That's
upper
the
levels.
uppermost house here.
And there's a council of Skrulls who are ruling all the Skrulls that Talos used to be a part of and was kicked out for, differing opinions, and that Gravik is still a part of. And so that's another part.
So he's swaying the council. He's doing his best, Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And there's still out in the universe, there's still an Emperor Druge, I think they pronounce it as, who is the Emperor of the Skrulls who left Skrullos. So they're still out there in space as well, which will probably come into play.
So where are these niggas coming from? Wait a minute. How are these niggas multiplying so much? Where do they come from if Skrullos is no more?
Well, there was the ones on Earth who are multiplying obviously through the usual good old fashioned ways, which love, and trust. And then
You don't die, we multiply.
and more is revealed later is all I can say about where all these scrolls are coming, because that is definitely something from
Where all
the
these
second
niggas
episode.
coming
But there
from?
are definitely more scrolls on Earth than Nick Fury thought there were, and it is a problem. Like, definitely the stakes are high in this series because, you know, once you realize how many scrolls there are and how they've
Yeah.
infiltrated,
Yeah.
it's quite dangerous because it is for 30 years. So even though I don't think they're going like the comic route where all the characters we knew are going to be questionable,
Yeah.
but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Rhodes turns out to be a scroll now.
Who told him to come here? Why is it always Earth?
Blip. Yep. Ooh.
He did.
Yeah.
Who told him to? And I remember how this happened, but who
That'd
told
be
him to
so
come
grimy.
here?
That would be daring if the writers were, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, what has he done? Nothing. If he's just like chilled throughout the series, you know, like they could easily be like, yeah, he was just a straw and hiding this whole time. Goddamn. And Tony's dead. It'd be perfect timing. But no, he still has to do Armor Wars.
He still has to do armor, but that doesn't
Maybe
mean
the
anything.
real Rhodes is revealed. I'd do it.
But I was asking a question, Ben. I mean,
That's pushing it. He couldn't have
like,
been straw this whole time. Then no, that's pushing it. Yeah.
I feel like I already know the answer to this, but who told them to come here, and why is it always Earth?
Well, they were already here, and
but
probably
who told them to come here?
That's more
when it was already
revealed
here?
later. Let's yeah, it's revealed later.
Why is it always Earth? This is when I fucks with people like Lex Luthor because I'm like, why are you coming to my house?
And that's
anywhere
part of
in the
Gravik's
galaxy
plan that I really don't understand as well. But like I say, that is also revealed later, and I just don't really get, you know, what part of what Gravik's plan is revealed that is in my notes right here is that they robbing brains. And in the first episode, it's revealed that Gravik and his crew have these machines where they can take a human and then not only now can they imitate them, they can get their thoughts to the point where the scroll will think that they're that person.
Right. That I knew. They established that.
Well, no, this is honestly, this is pretty new. Like scrolls.
I thought this was in the cartoons.
No,
they've established that they felt like they really think they are the person they're representing.
That's more like them being there for long, but this is more like this nigga touches this nigga. They grab the nigga, they touch the nigga, and then the nigga is like, "Nah, I'm that nigga," and I know everything you knew.
So,
which
like,
is that was
on steroids.
That's new, yeah. That's for most scrolls in the comics are like they assume who they are, but then they can like they'll live in that life so long that they get used to that life, that type of thing, but they don't know everything that person knew. But that's a problem. If they can know
they're
anything,
taking their thoughts, emotions,
everything,
memories.
Yes. And it's
that's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
And then beyond that, Gravik is definitely upping the scrolls. Like, for those who read the comments and know about the Super Scroll, I definitely think we are going to see some variation of the Super Scroll. And the Super Scroll,
we have to.
Yeah, Super Scroll in the comics is a character who has all the powers of the Fantastic Four. We're going to see some different powers, but we're going to see some familiar powers from the Marvel Universe combined into one scroll. I can guarantee you that. It's already been telegraphed in the trailer, and then there's evidence of this happening as well.
So you said they robbing brains. Why?
That's what I meant. They robbing these niggas' brains.
I said why?
So they can infiltrate even deeper. Imagine that, like, if you know what the president knew, then you could take the president and nobody should think any different about it.
What is the overall goal? To just repopulate Earth with themselves?
It's revealed later, but it doesn't seem far off, judging by what is going on in this episode. Yeah, which is part of why. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Slight spoiler: Gravik wants to murder off everybody and put it and fill it with scrolls.
Magneto.
Yeah, it just feels utterly ridiculous. It's just like, nigga, like, y'all could just infiltrate and be good. You know what I mean? Like, even if there's a fucking 2 million of y'all, there's like billions of people on this planet, fam. Like, you can't run the world with 1 million people.
Yeah.
And it should take you forever to get to 1 billion. Unless there's
Is
a
it
billion out of
though?
space waiting.
Is it though?
No,
Because
it took a humanity a long time to get to a billion.
true, but this is the humanity. And
I mean,
it
they're
got to a
extremely
million
long
pretty
lived.
fast.
I don't know how fast their pregnancy and gestation rates are all that, but those are questions I can't answer right now. But at the same time, I seriously doubt that they are, can make billions that quickly.
Why y'all niggas had to choose Earth?
I mean, the shit popping. Nigga, why wouldn't? Like, nigga, everybody else does. This shit hot. Like, nigga, I want
You come to my planet.
like, nigga, like everybody else has, bro. Thanos was here, niggas is like, shit, that hoe popping. It's like Kim Kardashian,
Popping.
You know what I mean? Like, why does everybody want to, or what's the name? Who's the new one? Steve Harvey's daughter, Lori. Why everybody got to date her? Because she popping. You know what I mean? Why everybody got to date Michael B. Jordan? Because he popping. Why everybody want Earth? Because it popping.
You just compared Earth to Lori.
Pete Davidson. Earth.
Okay.
It's popping.
This train of thought is stopping at this station, okay?
Lori Harvey and Pete Davidson, both of them, popping. People want a piece. Earth, popping. People want a piece.
So how is Nick Fury reacting to all these people who was telling him he was washed, and he still, as you say, he still got some...
He fucking them niggas up. That's what he doing.
Okay. So I was like, ain't no way somebody gonna tell me some shit like that and you not getting popped in the mouth.
But it's shown in the first 2 episodes that he's definitely slipping and lost a step. And we are also, I will say, one of my favorite people we meet in the first episode is Sonya. Her last name is, oh my God.
You was gonna say Sonya Blade. I was like,
no,
what?
I know. I should know it offhand, but I cannot remember offhand right now. Her last name is Sonya Falsworth. And the Falsworth are a famous Marvel family. They're British, and they basically contain in their family the British answer to Captain America. There's character Union Jack who wears the British flag as his costume. He stay with a heater though. That man ain't that. I ain't shooting people.
He's shooting people.
My man Union Jack got the pistol on the side. He stay with the heat. So Union Jack is them. One, I'm not sure. I think they said Sonya's a new creation, but she's of the Falsworth line, for the show. So
okay.
I don't know I'm hoping they introduce somebody of Union Jack, but their family also has some vampire hunters in it and some other wild shit. I think one of them gets turned into a vampire. Yeah, the Falsworth are a dope family, and so it's dope to see them in here. And Sonya herself is amazing. She is a standout character on this show. She is every bit Nick Fury's rival, and she's also a person who tells him he's washed. Because she's like, yo, you used to be it, but dog, you've lost a step. And she is also the foil to Nick Fury because Nick Fury is trying to make peace with Gravik because he knows it from the past. He's trying to make Talos and Gravik see peace, find a way to bring these straws back together and, have peace on Earth. While Sonya's like, oh, word, they problem? All right, all them niggas gotta go.
Sound like something I would do. She sound like somebody I will fuck with.
Yeah, straight up and down. All of them. Talos, Gravik, I don't give a damn. You green, you know.
Y'all all causing problems. Everyone out. Everyone
out. And I mean dead. Not even out dead. Y'all got to go. And dead grimy. Like, she's a grimy one. She ain't playing. She grimy. Grimy as hell, but I love her. That one I'm siding with. Gravik so far I'm not feeling. I'm not feeling her though as well because it's a little extreme, but she got enough chutzpah, charisma, whatever you want to call it. Chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
I always call it chutzpah when I read it, but yeah, I know.
Chutzpah. How do you kill a Skrull?
Shoot them.
Like the same way
they're strong, it seems, but bullets my only weakness, words on them just as well.
So they go down the same way.
Yeah.
May need a couple more, but it takes
a couple more. Fury definitely put, a couple more in one
quadruple
of them
tap.
at one point. But yeah, he tapped that man out, no problem.
And down you go.
Yeah, it wasn't much problem to that. Like, he put up a good fight, gave it the whole college try, but those bullets, slowed him down like they do anybody else.
Okay. So it's fairly easy to kill Skrulls, what you say. When I say easy, I just mean it doesn't take a special device or anything.
No, hot ones.
Or headshots only. Not hot ones.
Yeah, hot pockets, baby.
Flaming hot.
Hot pockets. Oh, that's a great movie. That should have me crying at the end. Shout out to Flamin' Hot on Hulu.
I got to see that still.
Great film.
Okay.
Hot Pockets.
What would you say are the major themes of this besides Nick Fury is washed?
That is the major theme. The other major theme of it is that
Of this episode, rather.
This episode and the series, I would say, is like refugee story, the meaning of race. Like because it's like the Skrulls can take on anything, right? And while Rhodes and Fury have both taken on the roles they play, and Rhodes and Fury, have different sides, but they're, thinking Fury at least is like we're both brothers.
Okay.
Rhodes, is a military man all through and through, and
I feel like he thinks he's military first.
that he's green first. That's his color,
Right.
military green first. And so that is one of the major themes: is who are we? There was something that happened.
What side are you on?
Yep. Is Turner white in my notes in the first episode, or is that?
Yeah, you wrote. Oh, I don't know. I think that's in your second. Yeah, that's in your second. Sorry.
Yeah, that's in the second. So the Turner white reference I'll have to save for a minute. But it
Do
was
Skrulls understand the socioeconomics of ethnicity and race?
It seems they do.
And do they use it to their advantage?
It seems they do. Slight spoiler, I'll just say that as well. Like this is slight and just more thematic than anything. There's a flashback in the second episode to the Skrulls, like Nick Fury presenting his plan to them. Basically, we'll help you find a new planet, but while we look, y'all help us out on Earth. Solving crimes, doing being shield agents, basically.
Yeah,
doing the
that's
work.
what he told Talos.
Yeah.
Talos, whatever.
And so he presents this to a bunch of Skrulls. And while he's doing this, there is like a painting behind him of what looks like some indigenous people, I would say. It's like an old, like, it looks like indigenous art, but not indigenous, but like, try like stuff you see whenever you go, like in Ethiopia, if I went to a village, it would look like a painting like that, those type of things, So this is on the wall behind him. All these Skrulls are standing in front of him, and he's like, yo, get down or lay down, basically. And as they all get down and change, they turn into white people. All of them.
I was gonna ask, like, was a Skrull like a black man and walked into a store and wasn't getting service, so he walked around the corner, came back as a white woman, and
he's
tried
like,
to
"I'll
see.
fuck that after that,"
Yeah.
I'm taking the easy route on this one, fam.
So they turned white.
They all turned white
because they wouldn't get shot at. Or
I don't know, but Gravik is also a black man, but he's also British, so that might be his way out. Look, there's racism in London too. I get it,
but I'm just curious because Skrull. I'm just curious why I asked that, because like real talk is like if they are introducing those topics or those subjects, then and Skrull's smart, so I'm like, do they understand and do they use that against humanity? The fact of that there is racism.
I mean, this comes up multiple times in the second episode. Like I say,
okay,
somewhat heavy-handedly at points, but multiple times the Skrulls definitely understand how race is treated on the planet. Easily,
right?
They know it. Yeah,
so that would be the first thing I would do. I'd be like, these dumb motherfuckers, and I would just use that over and over again.
And they do easily. So that is going to come up. And then Gravik, even though he portrays as a black man, is a Skrull and, shifts form as easily as we change clothes, even less. So, he presents as a black man to give him the characteristics like, as certain people love to do when watching science fiction, is apply. I will also say it's both sides. Everything contains multitudes, right? It's both sides. Like, while Gravik does present as a black man, he is definitely not a black man. Like I said, one, he's not even African American. He's, presents as someone from British origin, but he's a Skrull.
He's a black Brit.
Yeah, but he's a Skrull. Mm-hmm. In the story, like this man's a Skrull. His actions are representing Skrulls. He ain't thinking about what black people go through in America.
Or the UK.
Or in the world. Does not care. It's irrelevant to him other than how to use it against humanity. And so that's something that we have to understand when we're watching his character. It's like you cannot attribute him as like, oh, he's representing black people. No.
Don't attribute an ethnicity or even a nationality to him.
Yeah, no, because that's silly, because he's not any of that. He is a Skrull from Skrullos. And his history and origin is told in the second episode. So you know exactly who he is and why he is the way he is. But it ain't nothing to do with black people. And that's something that I've always thought about. It's like, even though these characters sometimes look like us, that does not mean they are like us. Like, any character in Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. Just because they're black doesn't mean, that they're black. They're a fucking alien, Finn, let's take an example from Star Wars, has no knowledge of, the trials and tribulations of black people on Earth. Nor does he care. He's a fucking child soldier, restricted into being a stormtrooper.
Child soldier first.
Yeah, that's his life. He got enough problems than worrying about what the fuck we going through.
Could you imagine if Finn, like, as they were getting shot at, was like, I'm a black man. How could they do this? Could you imagine in the Star Wars universe that came up?
But now, see, the other side of this is, though, Finn also does represent things. Like, I had a problem with him in the second episode when he was, in the second movie, when he's crooning and driving throughout the movie, because it was like, wow.
I don't remember that.
Like, he wakes up, looking for Rey, falls out of the bed. The next scene we see him and he's walking through butt naked with tubes shooting fluid out of him. It was a lot of, they really played Finn in that second one. As much as I like The Last Jedi, they played Rhodes the fuck out of Finn. Well, Rhodes just played in the next one because, of the fan reaction. But Rhodes is introduced in The Last Jedi. And when Finn is introduced, I like some of his stuff in The Last Jedi, but overall, I was like, whatever. But that's beside the point. What I'm saying is, but it is the point because it represents both sides. While Finn doesn't know anything about the trial and tribulation of the black man, he's still a black man on screen. And that's the same thing about Gravik. Like, he's going to be judged as a black man. I'm sure that it's going to come up, but this nigga's just going to change to something else. Because, he ain't going to be like, oh, well, now I'm white. Look at that magic,
I get you. Do we get any Easter eggs in the first episode? Or callbacks or connections to any other Disney Plus shows or things we saw elsewhere?
No, like, once again, the giant dead celestial in the Indian Ocean has still not been addressed directly.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Even with Nick Fury coming back to Earth, that would think like that's something you might, Nick.
Or because he was on the space station at first, like you just see the rotation of the Earth, and all of a sudden you see the hand coming out of the Indian Ocean that is just kind of on the revolution of Earth. You kind of just see it go by or something.
I've heard that that's going to be highly addressed in the new Captain America film, but it's like
it's probably going to be a joke, and they're going to keep
no, that should be like a big part of the storyline.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like that should be like the major part of the storyline because a dead scroll on Earth is a major comet storyline. So they're going to.
Can we get an acknowledgement?
I mean, not scroll, celestial.
Can we get an acknowledgement of that? And is Jon Snow coming back? I mean, this has nothing to do with
not in the new Captain America movie.
Secret Invasion. Yeah. Is he coming back? Period. This is
time will tell.
Okay.
Time will tell on that. I honestly, because I doubt he shows up in Blade. Because I heard he got written out of Blade now. Like, he was in Blade, and then they wrote his part out to lean it up. So yeah, I don't and judging by that, who knows when the fuck he comes back after that? Then it's like years. He might start shooting a new Jon Snow series if they ever do that.
So you say no Easter eggs or things you could think of this?
Nah, not really. Other than like Strolos and stuff like that. No, and then of course the Fallsworths and like everything I told you about Union Jack. That's a big Easter egg. The Fallsworth family. I'm looking over my notes.
How was the music?
It was actually I liked it, and then it was kind of overbearing at times. It was like tension, that like a lot of what they would call atonal instruments, where it's like not everything's in the same key or everything feels like, and it feels like a lot of like tension driving.
Like it's supposed
music.
To make you feel discord.
Yes, discordant music and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, this is a little much, but it was cool too at times. So it was, shaky.
Okay,
yeah, I liked it, but I'd have to hear the soundtrack again to see how I felt. Like,
right.
And thanks for reminding me. I need to listen to the Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack's really good. I love it.
Yeah.
Shout out Metro Boomin.
No, not that one. That's cool. I'm talking about the actual soundtrack.
The score.
Shout out to Metro Boomin. I like that.
Well, you're talking about the soundtrack. You talking about Metro Boomin. You talking about the score.
Score, yeah. The score I'm talking about. I like the soundtrack, but I don't know. I got to listen to that again. But he did have that one jam on there with James Blake. I was really like, yeah, that's crazy. That white.
And for the Secret Invasion show, was it all like orchestral type music, or was there any like songs that they?
No, it was mainly like orchestral type music. Okay. Fury plays a vinyl actually, but even that, it's when he meets Sonya, and even that is like I didn't have a chance to Shazam it, but it's some like like old jazz type shit. And they know like, oh, that's the jam. Yeah.
Now I know you've already seen episode 2, but like, how does episode 1 kind of telegraph the rest of this series? And how many episodes in the series? Is it 6 episodes total? I know it's not that many episodes.
Yeah, you gotta let me know on that. I'm not sure.
Yes, it's 6 episodes total, with the last one airing July 26th.
Yeesh.
But why you say each like that?
Well, I mean, I've already seen 2, and damn, there's only 4 more.
So, okay, so that's 2 questions. Just to give me an understanding, like from that first episode alone, like how do you telegraph the rest of this series going? And were you, because you told me a lot of things, you made me laugh with your descriptors, but I didn't feel like you really loved it or cared. Did you like what you watched?
I was entertained, but I wasn't blown away. Like I said before, it was just like, okay, this is a cool little show. Maybe this will go somewhere. I thought Gravik was very cool. I thought there were some cool and sometimes some funny things said about race. Like one thing I didn't mention at one point, Fury is in a bar in Russia, and he's, at this point he's been told he's been watched, he's been fucked over a few times, or he ain't, been as quick as he used to be. And he's staring in the mirror, looking at himself, and this old Russian man speaks to him in Russian, and he's like, no matter how long you stare in that mirror, you'll never be the man you once were. And Fury's like, oh, and says something back to him in Russian, and then buys the dude a drink. And then he goes and sits over with Maria Hill, and he's like, what you younger people don't understand is that's how we kept the Cold War from going hot. Spooks like me buying drinks. And she's like, you can't say that. Because spook, for those who don't know, is not only just a reference to black people, it's also a reference to an agent, a government spook. And so he's like, no, you can't say that. And Maria's like, touche. And so stuff like that, I thought that was cute.
Clever quips.
Yeah, clever. A lot of little clever quips and a lot of clever references to race, and also some not so clever, some just like, direct and more questioning things about, are you a government agent or are you a black man?
Right.
That type of thing.
Basically, is this series, is this going to give me like boring spots, or this is going to give me like from a scale of, I don't know, WandaVision to Falcon and Winter Soldier, where is this? And I just use WandaVision because WandaVision was just so out there and so different.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. WandaVision, Miss Marvel, or even Loki, I feel like are shows that we're doing a little bit more than just being like your standard. I feel like this is right in that Falcon and Winter Soldier lane where it's like, this is more your summer thriller, and it's summertime. So like, if you saw this as a movie, it's only 6 parts, so it might turn out to be very well done. I'm not gonna prejudge it. Like I always say, just wait till the end. And so this might be the dope, like summer movie that we're missing from Marvel, basically. Like the summer, like the what are them Harrison Ford joints he used to do when he was the president? Jack Ryan, Clear and Present Danger type shit.
Right.
This is like that, but with Skrulls.
Right. And this show's gonna have clear and present implications and consequences to the rest of the MCU, like the things that happen in this series.
Definitely huge implications, I would say. I think this will lead directly into Armor Wars, as Rhodes is playing a big part in this. And they said they switched Armor Wars from a series to a movie. I think because one, he's playing such a big part in this, and they wanted him to give him his own movie, so he gets this, movie treatment that he hasn't really had. So I think that's going to lead into that. But also, Armor Wars is also about, armor and not Skrulls. But there's a lot of fucking Skrulls on Earth at this point. So there's no way, that the Fallsworth or whoever is going to murder them all by the end of the series. So there's going to be some implications going forward. How much? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say like, Kang is coming out of this. We've already seen Kang. We already know, kind of, and that's, another.
Did we though?
Well, we did, and that was the sad part. But we still know that the next Avengers movies are the Kane Dynasty and Secret Wars. So how much the Skrulls are going to play into that, I don't know. And even Nick Fury says, like, this is my war at one point, So I think this is like more about him, the last hurrah for Nick Fury, maybe. We'll see.
And what does that mean? Just no more Nick Fury? Because obviously he's going to have to go out of commission one day.
Eventually, yeah. It hurts, man.
Even if it's just, and I don't mean death, I just mean like even in retirement, like one day he's going to have to put the eye patch down. So then what?
Yeah. I don't know. And it really, I mean, well, one thing that I would like to see is Agent Brand, and I think she's hinted at, I don't know if she'll show up yet, but Agent Brand is the commander of Sword in the comic book. She's
Yeah.
also a mutant
Yeah.
and she's a badass. So
And
I
where's
like to see people like her.
And where's Valentina in all this? Because she's got to show up.
She got to show up by the end of the series. No way she doesn't show up. I can't imagine her not showing up in this show. Definitely. So we'll see. Yeah, and of course we got Thunderbolts coming out. So I'm not sure, how much longer Nick Fury could be in the Marvel universe. I don't know if this is the end for him. Like, I'll say this: in the first episode, he looked super washed, and it was hurting my feelings. Like he looked fat, chubby, out of shape. It was all bad. And then in the second episode, he kind of cleans himself up and starting to get back together. So I'm like, okay, no, okay, that might have been a fat suit they had on Samuel. I'm like, I know Samuel still keeps slim. I know he ain't,
I think he's like a naturally slim kind of guy.
Yeah, I know he ain't, just putting on the weight. So, I was like, all right, cool. And in this episode, he cleans up, get the beard trimmed up, everything. So I think by the end of this, he might be either dead or,
Right.
Yeah. One or the other.
It seems like your overall verdict is you got to give this some more time to see how this pans out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It wasn't like the first episode of Miss Marvel. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
So this doesn't wow you, but this didn't bore you to tears.
No, not at all. No, I'm definitely enjoyed it. I'll definitely watch it again tomorrow when it comes on Disney Plus, so I can see if I miss anything. And then I'll watch the second episode again when I see that. And I guess we should talk about this, but this is the big spoiler or the big ending of the first episode. Oh, damn. I just realized that whole thing does take place in the first episode. Oh, I forgot. All right, yeah, that all happens with Maria and everything right there at the end. Well, Gravik's first plan comes off in the first episode. This man blows up a lot of fucking London, like blows that, or Moscow, right? Moscow. Blows it, yeah. Blows that whole, 4 bombs go off in Moscow during Unity Day, which is some type of celebration they're having. And I think it's a historical thing in Moscow. I think it might be with US. I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't speak out of turn. But 4 explosions go off and mad people die. And Fury was supposed to stop it and thought he had a handle on the situation because Talos has convinced his daughter to come back to his side. But Gravik already knew that she might flip, so he flipped it on her and flipped the plan. And so all 4 bombs go off. Mad people die. I think the count is in the second episode, 2,000, and it's counting.
Oh, no.
Top it off, Gravik rolls up and shoots Maria Hill in the gut and deads her up.
Oh, so she meets the true death.
Oh, the true death. True death.
I never had a problem with Maria, but I also can't say I was like the biggest fan of hers either. Like I
liked her, but it did feel kind of. I'm wondering how many people are gonna bring up fridging complaints. When they talk about fridging,
did it feel like fridging? If it feel like fridging, smells like fridging, might be fridging.
It might be. It felt like a woman being killed, so that Nick Fury has more of a reason to get revenge.
That's his ace.
Yeah,
Maria's his ace.
Yeah. I guess you couldn't kill Ross. I would have.
The nigga died 50 times already. No, he's nobody's ace.
Yeah, and nobody.
Maria is Fury's ace.
Yeah, so why did you have to kill her? Why couldn't she keep fighting alongside him?
Sounds like fridging.
But then again, that goes back to my other side of things. Like I said, just because we have inclusion doesn't mean bad things can't happen to these characters.
That too.
So when I say this is fridging,
but it's less about bad things happening and more so what is the driving force behind her being killed, and is it really her being killed? I don't know if she's a secret.
Yeah, that's the other thing. She gets buried and shit, but what if she been a Skrull? Well, no, that's no. Because when they get shot in the gut, they turn back to Skrull.
I was gonna say that's kind of the other theme of the series: to keep questioning yourself and keep double backing on your own conclusions, because for all you know, even though you feel like you've got the right answer, for all you know, that person was a Skrull.
Well, yeah, that is the case normally, but like I said, she catches a hot one in the gut and does not turn back into a Skrull. Hot pockets.
Because they normally turn back when they get erased.
Evaporate. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Maria Hill. You've been around
and all this happens in the first episode.
Yeah, you've been around since the first Avengers, boy. You put in a lot of work in the Marvel Universe.
You doing her eulogy right now?
Yeah, man. We got to have that. It's so hard, and then play some You know, all the quit scenes from all the time she's been in the movies.
In slow-mo, fading in and out of each other. You gonna put on a t-shirt?
The Comic Sans font, like in
On the
Spider-Man.
program?
And yeah, remember Spider-Man when the kids were like doing the thing about the blip and they were in there like
We all gonna be going over the casket looking, who did the body? Looking good.
looking good. And boy,
Casket sharp,
I mean, yeah,
boy.
she getting that open casket too, because she definitely caught the hot one to the stomach. You know what I mean? So yeah, kept
Man.
that face clean. Good job there, Gravik. You know, respect.
Right. Well, I will say I am looking forward. Who did the body? I will say I'm looking
I just gave that man respect for giving her a hot one to the stomach. Like, I'm terrible. It's time to wrap this up, B.
I'm looking forward to seeing the first episode. Even though we went through what it has happened and most of like the larger themes of it, I still want to watch all the little in between details so I can form my own conclusions. And then next week I could probably yell at you about something, Ben. I mean, because we will be back next week here on Views from the 616, and we will be talking about episode 2 of Secret Invasion. This has been our review, episode 1. Thank you very much for listening to us. Views from the 6, powered by ForAllNerds. You need to follow, like, subscribe, pay, everything for ForAllNerds in order to enjoy, love, and appreciate everything that we have going on here. You can also appreciate us in a lot of different ways, simply for free, retweeting, sharing, telling your grandma about us, listening to our show with your of age son or daughter or non-binary child. Please listen to it. Let us know what you think. We appreciate it. What else you can do? You can go to patreon.com/forallnerds, and that's one way you can support us financially. We are an independently owned, an independent funded media brand. So we do everything on our own, from the podcasting to covering all sorts of things like the I almost said the ForAllNerds convention. Oh my God, I'm gonna bring that to life. The New York Comic Con. Really cool things that we like to do and like to cover. We do that all on our own, but always with the help of all of our people that we love called the Fan Fam. So thank you to all who are already part of the Patreon. And if you're not already, please join. Any tier is a good tier. You get special privileges such as access to events, free stuff that we give it to you first, or free access to things like screenings. We talk to you first. There is also go to forallnerds.com where you can get this illustrious Gucci Mandalorian shirt, like the one DJ Benjamin is wearing on his body right now. If you are watching, you'll see that. I don't know if my shirt's still even available, but I have the T'Challa and Friends shirt. This is it still there? Okay. And the clock might be counting down on this one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's popping though. We still good.
It's still popping. I know a lot of people are still trying to get this, but
it's still popping though. We still slinging that.
Yeah, okay.
Now the count is clocking down on the Nope t-shirt, y'all. If you want to get that Nope joint, you need to get it now-ish. You know what I mean? Because that is definitely, we are coming down to the last of the Nopes. You know, there will be no more Nopes. One of those are all gone. It's a Nope on Nope.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like I have said before, make sure that, like, if you see something cool that you like on our merch site, just buy it when you see it, because there's a good chance it may not be there next week or even in a few days, especially if it's something extra reckless, because it's probably going to get pulled down from the online bots anyway. So please make sure if you love it, you like it, please just grab that ASAP. But thank you to everyone who has done that already. Make sure you are, if you appreciate and are okay with it, please post a picture of yourself in it. Tag us in it. We want to see you rocking the merch. We want to see you just repping ForAllNerds. We appreciate it. We love it. And we want to see you. We want to praise you and salute you. So any way you want to help in that way, we appreciate that. Make sure you're following us on all the socials at ForAllNerds. I'm Tatiana King. He's DJ Benjamin. Make sure you are following us on YouTube, youtube.com/ForAllNerdsTV. That's how you get to see our beautiful melanated faces. And anything else I'm missing besides all the cool stuff that we're doing coming up and the stuff that you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can go right now to fuck Amazon. So, you can hit up your local comic book store or your local bookstore, which is much better. Support your local businesses. Hit them up. call them up right now, tweet them, whatever, and tell them, yo, I want to pre-order Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze, the original graphic novel written by me and my boy Mello Brown, illustrated by Tom motherfucking Mandrake. I'm adding that to his name every time I say it. Tom motherfucking Mandrake, the legend himself. And this is as people keep saying, a time-traveling adventure of Jimi Hendrix. Spoilers. How much of that's in there? But it's a lot of things in space. You know, it is a love letter to Black music. It is one of the greatest things I've ever written. It is a rollicking, as they say, space opera adventure in the realm of Star Wars and saga, but influenced with Blackness and told through the lens of Blackness and the lens of Black music. It's inspirational. It's inspiring. It's beautiful beyond belief. The artwork by Tom Mandrake is incredible. It's going to be 128 pages. I don't know how we feeling all that, but that's another story of graphic novel beauty. So go ahead right now and just call somebody up and be like, yo, I need this in my hands. So please, whatever store you support, wherever you get your books, your graphic novels, your comics, hit them up and be like, yo, I need Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze right now. Pre-order it right now. It drops November 7th. If you pre-order it, I promise you, I'll find you wherever you are in the world and I'll sign that hoe for you. Wherever you are, I'll hunt you down.
That's kind of scary. I don't know.
Be showing up at your house at 3 a.m. Where's your book at, bitch? I got a lot more books to sign.
They stealing brains. They robbing brains.
They robbing brains out here. I got books to sign. Hurry it up.